A fireteam is a small military unit of infantry. It is the second smallest unit in the militaries that use it and is the primary unit upon which infantry organization is based in the British Army, Royal Air Force Regiment, Royal Marines, United States Army, United States Marine Corps, United States Air Force Security Forces, Canadian Forces, and Australian Army. Fireteams generally consist of 4 or fewer soldiers and are usually grouped by 2 or 3 teams into a squad or section. Concept: the concept of the fireteam is based on the need for tactical flexibility in infantry operations. A fireteam is capable of autonomous operations as part of a larger unit. Successful fireteam employment relies on quality small unit training for soldiers, experience of fireteam members operating together, sufficient communications infrastructure, and a quality non-commissioned officer corps to provide tactical leadership for the team. These requirements have led to successful use of the fireteam concept by more professional militaries. It is less useful for armies employing massed infantry formations, or with significant conscription. Conscription makes fireteam development difficult, as team members are more effective as they build experience over time working together and building personal bonds. The creation of effective fireteams is seen as essential for creating an effective professional military as they serve as a primary group. Psychological studies by the United States Army have indicated that the willingness to fight is more heavily influenced by the desire to avoid failing to support other members of the fireteam than by abstract concepts. Historically, nations with effective fireteam organization have had significantly better performance from their infantry units in combat than those limited to operations by larger units. In combat, while attacking or maneuvering, a fireteam generally spreads over a distance of 50 meters, while in defensive positions the team can cover up to the range of its weapons or the limits of visibility, whichever is less. In open terrain, up to 500 meters can be covered by an effective team, although detection range limits effectiveness beyond 100 meters or so without special equipment. A team is effective so long as its primary weapon remains operational. National variations: British infantry units of the British Army, Royal Marines and RAF Regiment use the fireteam concept. An infantry section of 8 men contains 2 fireteams, Charlie and Delta, each comprising an NCO and 3 privates. The NCO will carry an L85A2 rifle with an L17A2 underslung grenade launcher. One of the privates carries an L85A2 rifle, a second an L110A1 light machine gun, while the final private carries an L86A2 light support weapon, although this is being supplanted by the L129A1 designated marksman rifle. Some units vary with one of the privates carrying the grenade launcher rather than the NCO. The fireteam is generally used as a subdivision of the section for fire and maneuver rather than as a separate unit in its own right, although fireteams or fireteam-sized units are often used for reconnaissance and special operations. Canadian: in the Canadian Army, fireteam refers to 2 soldiers paired for fire and movement. 2 fireteams form an assault group and 2 assault groups form a section of 8 soldiers. French: the French section is divided into 2 teams. The fireteam is based around the section-level automatic rifle or light machine gun. The shock team, made up of riflemen armed with rifle grenades or disposable rocket launchers, is the reconnaissance and maneuver unit. The teams leapfrog, with one element covering as the other moves. The team leaders have handheld radios so the elements can stay in contact with each other, as well as with the section leader's backpack radio set. The most common symbol of the modern French junior NCO has been a radio hanging around their neck. United States Army: the United States Army particularly emphasizes the fireteam concept. According to U.S. Army Field Manual 3-21.8, a typical United States Army fireteam consists of 4 soldiers. Team leader provides tactical leadership for the team at all times with a do-as-I-do attitude. A team leader is equipped with either an M16 rifle or M4 carbine, and holds the rank of sergeant or corporal, although occasionally a team is led by a specialist or private first class. Rifleman is the baseline standard for all infantrymen. They are equipped with the M16 rifle or M4 carbine. The rifleman is usually assigned with the grenadier to help balance the firepower capabilities of the automatic rifleman. Grenadier provides limited high-angle fire over dead space. A grenadier is equipped with an M4 per meter 16 with the M203 grenade launcher mounted to the weapon. Automatic rifleman provides suppressive fire, and is the most casualty-producing person in a fireteam. An automatic rifleman is equipped with an M249 squad automatic weapon. In the context of a striker brigade combat team's infantry rifle companies, one man from each fireteam in a rifle squad is either the squad anti-armor specialist, armed with the FGM-148 Javelin, or the squad-designated marksman, who carries the M4 carbine and M14 rifle. In both cases this specialized function replaces the basic rifleman position in the fireteam. Marine Corps. The United States Marine Corps summarizes its fireteam organization with the mnemonic Ready Team Fire Assist, the following being the arrangement of the fireteam when in a column. Rifleman acts as a scout for the fireteam. Ready. Team leader, also works as the designated grenadier. Team. Designated automatic rifleman, also serves as second in command for the fireteam. Fire. Assistant automatic rifleman, carries extra ammunition. Assist. Other. Many other armed forces see the squad as the smallest military unit. Some countries' armies have a pair consisting of 2 soldiers as the smallest military unit. In others a fireteam is composed of 2 pairs of soldiers forming a fireteam. Chinese military forces traditionally use a 3-man cell as the smallest military formation. History. Fireteams have their origins in the early 20th century. From the Napoleonic War until World War I, military tactics involved central control of large numbers of soldiers in mass formation where small units were given little initiative. Although in the Napoleonic War skirmishers ahead of the main group would often work in teams of 2, providing covering fire and protecting each other, this was particularly effective for the British riflemen. During World War I, this resulted in a trench warfare stalemate on the Western Front. In order to combat this stalemate, the Germans developed a doctrinal innovation known as infiltration tactics, in which small, autonomous teams would covertly penetrate Allied lines. The Germans used their stormtroopers organized into squads at the lowest levels to provide a cohesive strike force in breaking through Allied lines. The British and Canadian troops on the Western Front started dividing platoons into sections after the Battle of the Somme in 1916. This idea was later further developed in World War II. French chasseur units in WWI were organized into teams with a light machine gun team and a grenade team, to destroy German fire positions by fire at up to 200 meters using rifle grenades. The light machine gun team would put suppressive fire on the enemy position, while the grenade team moved to a position where the enemy embrasure could be attacked with grenades. The chasseur tactics were proven during the Pétain Offensive of 1917. Survivors of these French chasseur units taught these tactics to U.S. infantry, which used them with effectiveness at Saint-Mihiel and the Argonne. In the interwar years, United States Marine Corps Captain Evans F. Carlson went to China in 1937 and observed units of the Communist Chinese National Revolutionary Army in action against the Japanese Army. Carlson and Merritt A. Edson are believed to have developed the fireteam concept during the United States occupation of Nicaragua. At that time the U.S. Marine Squad consisted of a corporal and 7 Marines all armed with a bolt-action M1903 Springfield rifle and an automatic rifleman armed with a Browning automatic rifle. With the introduction of weapons such as the Thompson submachine gun and Winchester Model 1912 shotgun and the thick vegetation that could provide cover for a quick overrun of a patrol, a team of 4 men armed with these weapons had more firepower and maneuverability than the standard 9-man squad. Carlson later brought these ideas back to the U.S. when the country entered World War II. Under his command, the 2nd Marine Raidal Battalion were issued with the semi-automatic M1 Garand rifle and were organized in the fireteam concept, 3 fire groups to a squad with a squad leader. A fire group was composed of an M1 Garand rifleman, a bar and a submachine gunner. After sustaining severe wounds, Carlson was replaced and his battalion later disbanded and reorganized under conventional Marine doctrine of 10-man squads. Later, Carlson's Fireteam concept was readopted. WWII U.S. Army squads consisted of an A-team, B-team and C-team. In an assault, the A-team and C-team would assault, as the B-team provided suppressive fire. Suppressive fire from the bar would be supplemented by fire from the rifles of his team as he reloaded, and could be further supplemented by platoon medium machine guns. The U.S. Army Rangers and Special Service Force adopted an early Fireteam concept when on campaign in Italy and France. Each squad subunit of 4 to 5 men was heavily armed. Each Fireteam was made up of a bar automatic rifle team, a scout armed with a M1903 Springfield with a rifle grenade discharger, and a team leader armed with an M1 carbine or M1 SMG. Their later misuse as conventional infantry negated their special training and fighting skill, and their use as fire brigades against larger enemy forces negated their advantages in aggressiveness and firepower. Meanwhile, the Communist Chinese established the 3-man Fireteam concept as the 3-man cell when they organized a regular army, and its organization seemed to have been disseminated throughout all of Asia's communist forces, perhaps the most famous of which are the PAVNNVA and the Viet Cong. Variation: Fire and Maneuver Team. A fire and maneuver team is the smallest unit above the individual soldier. It consists of 2 soldiers with 1 soldier acting as senior of the 2 fighters. A fire team in turn consists of at least 2 fire and maneuver teams and a squad of 2 or more fire teams. The concept is not widely utilized. The United States and most Commonwealth armies rely on the concept of fire teams forming a squad. Finland, in the Finnish Defence Forces, a squad is formed by 3 fire and maneuver teams and a squad leader. France, the French army has the concept of a binôme. In the regular forces it is the pairing of an experienced soldier with a recruit or replacement. The new man learns from the experienced man how to properly perform the everyday tasks and responsibilities of his assignment. In the old colonial forces it was a means of imposing order. The pair were responsible for each other. If one member broke the rules or deserted, the other would be punished for not preventing it. Sweden, according to the Swedish Armed Forces Field Manual, a trained fire and maneuver team is as effective as 4 individual soldiers of same quality. However, the efficiency of the fire and maneuver team has been challenged by many experts as it has been claimed to be insufficient in close-quarter situations where many fighting techniques have been designed for larger units. See also, Infantry, Military Science.